Hello everybody, welcome to the Michael Finkley Show. I'm Michael Finkley. Today is Monday, August 31st, 2020. Y'all, it's the end of the month. Tomorrow starts a brand new month. What is still stopping you from achieving your goals, desires, and dreams? Just think about it. Think about it and then act. Thank you so much for subscribing to our YouTube channel. If you have not already, please do at the Michael Finkley Show and ring that bell for notification, and you will receive an email from us saying content is uploaded. Thank you so much for 200, I said 200 subscribers. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That does our heart so well that you are willing to watch us every week right here on the Michael Finkley Show. Stories that you need to hear and that you want to hear. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you. On to today's show. Today we talk with Mr. Corey Beck. He is a person that was adopted into a white family at the age of 5 years old. And he tells about his various experiences during this time and what was it really like for him. So I'm telling you, it's a show that you do not want to miss. I tell you, this show had me in my feelings. It really did. And as you will see in the interview, the things that he talks about, the things that he went through, you know, pretty much puts a perspective on the person that he is today, that strong-willed, determined individual. So I'm telling you, stay tuned. You're in for an awesome treat. As you know, our Black Panther, our hero within Hollywood, Mr. Chadwick Boseman, passed away on Friday. And he was a hero to all, especially persons of color, that he portrayed someone that we could look up to. And I took it very hard, and I'll tell you why. He is from Anderson, South Carolina. I am from a small town, as you know, Mullins, South Carolina. And so when I first heard of him and, you know, all the things that he was doing and all the things that he was inspiring to be, I took it upon myself to put him in my head as an awesome role model. I always use these words when I thought about him. If he can make it and be successful in his own right, being from South Carolina, I know that I can do the same thing as well. And every time I would see something that he was in, or I would see him doing an interview, or okay, I'm not gonna cry, I promise. Just see him just doing his thing, right? It would just be an inspiration to me. And that message would always come back. It would always come back. Michael, you can be a success. You can be a success. You're going to be successful. You're going to be successful. And so in that small way, thank you, Chadwick. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Prayers out to his family and everyone else that has that special connection with him. And so here is a look at Mr. Chadwick Boseman. Take a look. Chadwick Aaron Boseman was born November 29th, 1976 in Anderson, South Carolina. After graduating high school in 1995, he attended Howard University in Washington, D.C., graduating in 2000, majoring in fine arts and directing. Boseman appeared in many television shows, small roles in movies, until his big break in 2013 in 42 as he portrayed Jackie Robinson. In 2014, he starred in Get Up and portrayed James Brown. In 2018, he starred in Black Panther as T'Challa, allowing this to be his biggest feature known to date. In his downtime, he supported the efforts of St. Jude Children's Research Hospital and other organizations in being a spokesperson for them. Boseman was a mentor to many, a hero, a jewel, a treasure, one we will never forget. Continue to rest in power. Coming up, we have Mr. Corey Beck. We'll be right back. On the next Michael Finkley Wednesday, we chat with Alderman Vernon R. Matthews Jr. as he discusses his run for the 72nd House seat in Connecticut. Don't you dare miss the next Michael Finkley Show. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Michael Finkley Show. I tell you, today we have a young man here that is full of courage to tell his story in his own right. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing Mr. Corey Beck. Corey, thank you so much for being on today.
Yes. Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. Thank you for agreeing. I know that something like this is at times can be hard. So thank you so much for mustering up the courage to tell everyone your story today. I really appreciate you. Yes, sir. So
Yes.
Corey, take us back. Take us back to childhood at the before the age of 5. What do you remember before 5?
Well, I remember living in an apartment in the inner city of Cleveland, Ohio, with my grandmother. Her name was Stallworth. Um, I didn't really do too much. We were on a fixed income with her, so the what I do remember is a lot of bike riding, Michael. A lot of hauling my bike down the stairs and riding it around the neighborhood, for hours. So that's what I do remember before adoption. So pretty dark times. So
Yeah. So bike riding, living in an apartment. What was your grandmother like?
she was a very religious woman. Spent a lot of time at church. So that was her soul and
Hmm.
vibe. So I only spent 4 years of my life and at a very early age with her. So I
Hmm.
didn't get to dive into who she was that much as a person.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah.
Do you remember your mother and father?
My birth parents, my birth mother gave me up at adoption, but I wasn't the only one. There were 7 other ones. So I have in my African American family 6 sisters and then one older brother and myself. We were all sort of given up um, during, pretty early ages and stuff.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. And your grandmother was the caretaker after that, before you got
for
adopted
she
for a
was just
while.
for me.
For
She
you.
wasn't for my other siblings. Yeah, for me, she was the caretaker until she passed away, Michael, when I was 5.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
And do you remember any of your siblings as well?
I um I follow some of them on social medias now, the Facebooks, the Instagrams, but I never really lived with them that much or spent my childhood with them.
Yeah,
So no memories with them like that.
gotcha. And let's
Yeah.
fast forward a little bit, Corey, to 5, where you had that life-changing event. Let's talk about that. What was that like for you?
It was, you know, um, life changing.
Yeah,
You go from the inner city to the country,
yeah.
so that's a different culture shock, right? You can imagine.
Mm.
Um, so just adapting to that
Yeah,
was unique and different. Um, but, I have to say.
yeah. So at the age of 5, when you were adopted and you were brought to New Hampshire, correct?
No, at the age of 5, brought to Lebanon, Ohio,
Okay.
a farm, a big old farm in Lebanon, Ohio. Spent 5 years of my life there, Michael, just, being a kid, adapting to being adopted. They had 3 kids of their own already,
Mm-hmm.
adopted me, and then also adopted another African American son. So we lived there for till I was around 11 years old on a farm. So at that point, at 11 years of my life, 5 has been in the inner city of Cleveland, 5 has been on a farm. So, still figuring myself out and figuring this crazy world out,
Yeah,
as you can imagine.
definitely. As you came to that farm at 5 years old, did you know at the time a major difference?
Just a different world, houses, you go from houses being right next to each other, you know what I'm saying,
Hmm.
to now your neighbors 3 miles away, you
Yeah,
know, different, culture shock. Growing up in African American culture, it's a big hop on your bike and everything's just right there. So it was still the same concept, hop on your bike, but everything was just a little further out. So it was beautiful, though. It was beautiful adapting to it, and I'm very grateful that I got to experience that because I wouldn't have known that. Um, I hope one day my kids get that same experience.
yeah, yeah.
So
So tell us about your adopted family, your parents, your siblings. Tell us about that.
okay, um, my parents are my mom's from Iowa. My dad's from Kansas. They met in the Navy, in the military. They've been together for over 30 years, 30, 35 years. Um, they have their oldest daughter is 35 right now, 35. They got a 32 and a 29 that are theirs. And then me, I'm 27. So they got 4 kids now. My dad has a few siblings on his side, and my mom has she has 2 brothers, and she also has an adopted sister on her side. So my mom's side of the family is who I see a little more, my uncles and stuff, my aunt. So got to dive into that part of their family a little bit because from my Cleveland side, I didn't hang out with my aunts and my uncles. So that was an experience growing up that I sort of got.
Yeah, yeah, gotcha. And as you're living your life as a before preteen, I guess, in that age of just, being a kid, right? As you said, just being a kid.
Mhm.
Did you notice it as you went off into town or what have you, into stores? Did you see any type of or experience any type of, maybe racial slurs or, persons saying some really negative things?
Um, I grew up in a predominantly white area, so racial profiling, I guess, is was definitely high. When they see an African American walk into the store or something, they may be more on high alert in the areas that I grew up in. Um, but people saying stuff nasty and blatant out to me, mm, no. Um, but to themselves and under their breath, maybe. Because I come from an area, like I said, it's predominantly white. High school, 3,300 kids, less than 50 were African American. So that's the type of area that I come from. I guess I was raised in. I didn't come from. I was raised in. So
Yeah, I, I gotcha. I gotcha. So when did you all make the big move to New Hampshire?
when we left the farm in Ohio when I was 11. We moved to Parker, Colorado. It was a little more suburb, closer homes, not in the country so much. We only lived there for 2 years. And then we moved to New Hampshire when I was 13 years old until my parents still live there now. So 13 to now, so pretty much 13 years. So half of my life has been, you know, time spent in New Hampshire. So,
Gotcha. And how
mhm.
was life in New Hampshire? This is where I feel like I came into the picture. I remember when I was in Derry, New Hampshire, and I was managing the subway right there in Derry, New Hampshire. And
Yes.
you and your friends would come in
Hmm.
frequently, and purchase whatever. And I
Hmm.
just told myself right then and there that there's something about this dude. There's something
Hmm.
about this dude. First of all, I was delighted to see another black male. That was number one.
You know what I'm
And
saying?
it was, I said, there's something about him. He has a story, definitely. And I made my reach out attempts at that time. So how was life in New Hampshire? How is life in New Hampshire? I know you travel back and
Uh,
forth.
it was well, I mean, after we left Colorado, life in New Hampshire, as growing up as a kid and trying to find out who you are and fit in. Um, it was fun. It was tough, um, but I really got my core values and morals from that experience. So I'm grateful for it. Um, so I guess I mean, that's how it's been, so far in New Hampshire. If I can, growing up child wise experience.
I gotcha. Yeah. It's a different place. It's a different place, but it's a beautiful
Yeah.
place.
Hmm.
It's a
Yeah.
yeah, it's a
Yes.
beautiful place.
It's beautiful, but it's very different growing up there, African American. Um, just the vibes and the encounters you may get are just sort of different. So than if you were to, in South Carolina or Georgia.
Yeah,
So
right. Yeah. As you were growing up with your siblings and just living your best life, did you
mhm.
see any type of differences? Any type of differences, as in, adulting with your parents versus your siblings, or anything like that?
Adulting, like them teaching them lessons
Mhm.
and not me. Is that what you're saying?
Right.
What are you
Mhm.
asking?
Yeah.
Um, I guess, I mean, ironically, if I think about it, I don't know if I've ever had a sit down talk about the birds and the bees, as they say, with my parents. So there are some things, I guess, that maybe they just didn't feel comfortable with speaking to me about. So I figured it out through life
Yeah.
and other encounters with other people.
Okay. Was any of those conversations ever about race?
Never, never really about race. Um, they tried to encourage learning about the culture in the way of summer projects of Martin Luther King Jr. We do those. Colin Powell, we do those, but no race talks on um, you know what to do when a cop pulls you over or things of that nature.
And thinking about that now, how does that make you feel?
Um, I guess it puts them in a tough spot. How can they speak on it? Um, because I don't know. So maybe having someone speak on it, but it was one of those things I guess I just sort of learned um, encountering people. Um, because yeah, 'cause when I get pulled over, they don't know where I come from. Just like they just see our skin, so they don't know where I come from or anything. So I had to learn, how to comply, how to show them respect. So, but I believe they tried to do that in in the values that they instilled in me, how to treat people just day by day and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah, gotcha. Do you ever have any type of feelings or anything towards your biological parents?
You always have the what if,
Yeah.
you know. But other than that, no. I mean, it's just like it's just like somebody that just didn't want you in the dating scene, and then you find something better that's, for you. So they just didn't want me, but I was able and grateful to get into a better situation, that can still help me progress in life.
How have you
So
dealt with the not want aspect?
say that again.
How have you dealt with the not
Mhm.
want aspect?
Um, Fine, I guess, and we all fear rejection, but I don't know what my birth mother was going through at that time,
Yeah.
or, why she didn't want to keep me. But it wasn't just me. It was all the kids that she had, so it's not just me. So it's just more of her. I just know that when I have kids, I would like to try to be there for them
Yeah.
through my experience.
Yeah. Yeah. I gotcha. Are they still living? Are your birth parents still living?
My mom is. I'm not sure about my father.
Okay. Would you ever want to contact her present day?
No, no, no desire. She knows my sisters. She talks to my sisters that live in the Cleveland, Canton, Akron area. And like when I was like in college, there's a few texts passed back and forth, but nothing really crazy,
Hmm.
you know.
So you have
So
no
it's
desire.
not really no true desire,
Okay.
but no ill intent.
Mhm.
No ill intent.
Okay. Well, more to come, Corey. More questions to
Mm-hmm.
come. We'll be right back.
That's good.
Next, Corey gives us more insight of his upbringing. We'll be right back. The Finkley Experience is an educational consulting firm that specializes in first-generation education. We assist parents and their students with the college process. We train school administrators, and we also partner with colleges and universities to assist with their first-generation population. To learn more about our consulting firm and to purchase our book and workbook, please visit our website at thefinkleyexperience.com. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Michael Finkley Show. We're still chatting with Mr. Corey Beck, and he's just giving us information about his life as an African American male being raised in a white household. And I thank you. You're opening up my eyes to a lot of things, Corey. Um,
Mm.
and I tell you, a lot is happening today, present day, right? And as African American males, we are the target. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts about that?
Um, it's and Michael, it's incredibly sad that something that we're fighting in the 1960s and even way beyond then, we're still fighting in 2020. Um, it's sad, but it's real and it is out there. So um, it deeply saddens me, especially being an African American man, but also being raised in a Caucasian environment. Um, just the switch that just I don't know, it's just not there. I feel like the disconnect, not understanding each other's cultures and differences, um, and just seems like it causes a lot of issues. So
Yeah. Do you think that you were prepared once you left home as
I
a black
was,
man?
I really do. That's the one thing that I feel like I was, even though I didn't have any talks or anything like that, I was well prepared for the test. That's I was well prepared for the test. I was studying when people didn't know. So,
I got you. Got you.
mhm,
And I can remember when I was living in Manchester and I was coming home from church, and this
mhm,
police officer was behind me. and a good 5 minutes, I'm telling you, just riding behind me. And he pulled me over after 5 minutes. He asked me all the questions in the book, as
Hmm.
into, where are you going? Where are you coming from? Is this your car? Give me your license. This is where you live. All this fun stuff. And at the end of the day, he told me that my tag light was out and I needed to get it fixed.
Yep.
So I went home, looked at my tag light, and it was working perfectly. And I tell you, I'm like, well, maybe he said my back lights were out or something, my brake light, all that was working. And I tell you, that was the first time that it ever happened to me. I can only imagine if I would have acted another way, where that would have led, right?
And you.
Another black man
Hmm.
down by a police officer. And we're seeing present day,
Hmm.
we're seeing present day Jacob, Jacob Blake Jr., as he was shot 7 times, 7 times. And he is now literally fighting for his life, shackled to a hospital bed uh, with no outlook of walking again. So, how can we bear this, Corey? How can we get past this? Or can we get past this?
Um, it's the same thing that MLK wanted to get past in the 60s. So I yes, we can get past it.
Hmm.
We haven't got past it, as you can see. Um, but I would like to say, um, I feel like if we could understand the differences of each other's cultures and more respect it than look down on it, maybe we could get further. Because I mean, African American people sometimes. I mean, um, I can just go off my experiences with some of my collegiate teammates. When they see police in their head, it's terrible. And Michael, why shouldn't it be? Because the things they're seeing. So every time they see them for that snap second, they see fear. They don't see protection. So if they could see something different, maybe they would, react a little differently. But I feel like, them not seeing officers as anything, not seeing them as good, it really just makes that encounter sometimes go a little south, if you get what I'm saying.
I get it, but when you have past history of negativity with the police officers coming from a black point of view, that terror is already there. You know
Exactly.
what
Yeah. So
other
why shouldn't they? Why
right,
shouldn't they?
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel in a true utopia, I guess, that parents shouldn't train their children how to react to law enforcement. But in the black household, you do. If you don't,
Mm-hmm.
some cases die, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
it's do you think that this is ongoing or will it ever stop?
This didn't. Was it 45 days? Has it been 45 days since George Floyd?
I think it's been a little bit longer if I'm not mistaken.
May 29th, something like that,
Yeah.
Memorial Day, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't even know,
Yeah.
just barely.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? So I don't
It's
know.
super crazy,
Not even
right?
not even 90 days. You would have thought that that would have brought um I mean it did enlighten it, but you'd have thought the cops would be like, a little more on edge, like,
Hmm.
oh, this just happened. Hey guys, let's be a little more careful, cautious, etc. But this happened 45, not even 45 days after that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like right now, possibly, I'm not speaking for all Caucasians. I feel like there's in some stomachs, there's a little pit of built up, you know?
Hmm. Yeah.
Seriously,
More than
I'm
a
not
pit.
speaking for I'm not speaking for all.
You're right.
I'm just saying a pit because you're just seeing so much of it right now, and they're thinking, hey, my life matters too. So it's just I feel like it's just causing just a little bit possibly from the other side. I'm not saying everybody, but so
Gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah, it's a continuous thing, right? And then yes, George Floyd, but how many cases were not publicized, right, between that time, right? So
that's
we
what I'm
look at
saying.
all of that.
That's why it is a real thing. It really is. Exactly. We're just seeing the ones that are brought to our attention.
Mhm.
That's why if you ask some African American people, they're like, to some, they're like, oh, I'm sort of numb to it now because it's so many. You know how it is in our society. So, um, that's what's scary. It's what are the ones that aren't getting recorded, you know?
Yeah,
So
yeah. I'm
I,
so glad you brought up the numb aspect. I just had a conversation with one of my friends from college, and she asked me how I was doing about this situation. And I just said, I'm done. I'm numb. That's the word I used. I am numb because it's happening and it's going to continue to happen. I feel like a true change is never going to come in the midst. That's just my perspective. We go back all the way to 1619, where we were first brought over, and even then, the whites always had a advantage. They had centuries, and I feel like in every sense, we became free. We've been trying to catch up, through slavery. We're free now. Jim Crow, back in the day, and so forth and so forth and so forth. We've been trying to play the catch up game. We've been penciled into a society that was not designed for us. Our
yes.
forefathers didn't look like us, right?
Mhm.
So
No, sir.
every since then, penciled in, penciled in, penciled in. Just trying to say that there's a checkoff list.
Hmm.
We've done it for them again. And now I feel like it's going to continuously be a check-in list over
Because
and over.
I don't, yeah, because you're saying we're trying to play catch up, right? Okay, you said that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And if you're thinking of in a competition, Michael,
Mm-hmm.
the person winning, do they ever want the loser to catch up?
Never. Never.
And
That's
when
that's good. That's yeah.
and and when and now we're asking to catch up. And they're like, okay, we'll let you catch up a little bit. We'll slow down a little bit, but they're not going to dare let us pass them, Michael. And that's when you see the real uproar. When oh no, they're not going to pass us. It's like, no, we're just trying to catch up some of our generations that were oppressed for 400 years.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. Are you comfortable in having these conversations with your parents now?
I never really thought to have them. Um,
Yeah.
I don't. Empathizing is a
Okay.
hard thing to do,
Mhm.
so I don't know if they'd be able to do that.
I got you. Gotcha. Yeah. What
Being
are your
able to
thoughts?
place.
I'm
Mhm.
sorry. Go ahead.
I was just saying, being able to place yourself in somebody else's shoes. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, I don't know if they could. I've never had to talk with them. They have not talked about it with me while it's happening. So the ability to empathize, I don't know.
All right. So it's there, but it's not talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, during this time, no calls on that stuff. No, So,
Mhm.
but imagine if I would ask if I was with a black family now.
Mhm.
What do you think, Michael? I would like to ask that question for you.
As in a discussion.
If
Oh yes. Oh yes. Me and my mom were just talking about that today. Our television stays on the news. as in trying to get updates. We're having conversations. My dad comes in, my sisters, there is a conversation, if not every day, every other day.
I'm a 27-year-old black man. I really don't have that guidance. I have to get it from putting good things in my search engine.
Mm-hmm.
So I follow good African American people.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Wow. As in your friends, what about your circle of friends? What do they look like? What conversations are being held there?
Non-existent.
Okay. Okay.
Non-existent.
Okay. Very curious though. What are your thoughts about the N-word?
Oh, man.
Was it used often in your head growing up, or something that you decided to use or not use as growing
Yeah.
up or outside of college or what have you?
Man, oh man. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I got a crazy story for you by accident, Michael.
Or share, please.
You're not gonna want me to, but I will.
Okay.
So I used to, this word, I don't know, when I was growing up, I used to say it in the songs and not really know, right? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I would say it and then you'd sort of, get in trouble for saying the word. So some authorities, hey, don't say that. Okay, whatever. As I got older, to me, it just became more of a word,
Mm-hmm.
like the, and.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a word. They're just putting it in songs. Just because you listen to something doesn't mean you have to become it.
Right.
But it's more of how you use it and the intent what makes me very upset. So, unfortunately, I've had it used in an intent. I have an experience where it was used in intent to hurt. Where my mother, when I was in high school, called me it. So when it's used with the intent to hurt, it definitely angers me and others. But other than that, I just try to give it no power and just the power of just another word, unless the individual is trying to use it with malicious intent. So, but after my experience, I try not to let people, even when using it with malicious intent, get to me. So that's my thoughts on it.
So your mother used it?
And an experience, yes, sir.
Wow. Wow. So are you still using it present day?
In some songs, never to demean or bash anyone. Never in that intent, But if I hear it in a song lyric, it's coming, I don't bleep it out like that, So.
Gotcha.
Yes, sir.
So Corey, what advice would you give to a fellow African American male? They may have grown up in your shoes, some things that you wish you would have had or wish you would have been told in that right. What advice would you give them?
Man, be grateful. Dive into your culture, learn about your culture, don't hide from it. But take the lessons that you learned from those people and use it in your everyday life to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason why God put you with them.
Thank you. Thank you for your words. Thank you for your story. I am sure 1, 2, 3, 5 viewers, maybe more, definitely more, can relate to your story. And I hope they are inspired by it because I know I was. Thank you, Corey.
Appreciate you, man.
Thank you. On the next Michael Finkley, Wednesday, we chat with Alderman Vernon R. Matthews Jr. as he discusses his run for the 72nd House seat in Connecticut. Don't you dare miss the next Michael Finkley Show. Welcome back to the Michael Finkley Show. I hope that you learned something from this interview and from hearing the words of someone else's experience. I know that I have. Thank you, Corey, for being on and sharing your story. I know it wasn't the easiest thing in the world to do, but we appreciate you for sharing. And I pray that more understanding will come, and also to more relationships that you're looking for a clearer comprehension of what you're looking for in life. We appreciate you so much. Thank you. And to my dear brother resting, Chadwick Boseman, rest on, my brother. Well done. Well done. Thank you. Thank you. On the next Michael Finkley, we have Alderman Vernon R. Matthews Jr. from Connecticut, as he talks about his seat run and much more about himself as well. So get ready for Wednesday's show. If you have not already, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you'd love to be a guest on the Michael Finkley Show, please email us at michael@thefinkleyexperience.com. Thank you so much, and we will see you next time. Have a good one.